And we're heading on over to check in with Jill Belland in for her monthly visit with our friends at SAIT's Culinary campus. All things gluten-free this morning. And Jill, you're speaking my language because you said the word gravy.
This is your language, and I'm, you know what? I've tracked down Ted's nemesis, you guys.
Uh-oh.
Dun-da-da!
See, that whisk is small compared to the one that I have to deal with.
Right?
Oh, I hate giant whisks.
I don't know why your whisk would be giant.
Why would you need a whisk bigger than that?
I don't know, but we have one, and it takes up an insane amount of drawer space.
This will do the trick, especially with what we're working with here this morning, you guys, at the SAIT Culinary campus. A reasonable-sized whisk and a variety of ingredients that are all gluten-free. I'm being joined by Chef Steve Lapine here this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we're whipping up here this morning.
All right, so this morning what we have is we're going to pretend we've roasted off a nice prime rib this morning. And a lot of people obviously are coming up and we're starting to find out that they have sensitivities and allergies to gluten.
Right.
So we're going to be making a gluten-free friendly beef jus.
Okay, beef jus.
Yes.
So we're starting off with the base.
Yeah, so we're going to pretend this is our leftover drippings left over from our beef this morning. So again, we're just going to bring this up to a slight boil here.
Okay. Yep.
And then what we're going to make is we're going to make a slurry.
What's a slurry?
Okay, a slurry is essentially a starch with, typically it's used to thicken up with a little bit of water to make your kind of thin paste.
Right.
And then we add this to our stock to slightly thicken it.
Okay, the difference between a slurry and a roux?
Roux has fat with the flour, whereas a slurry is just a liquid and your starch.
Let's get slurry with it.
Okay.
What do we do?
So what we have is we have a little bit of rice flour.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just straight up all-purpose rice flour. And we have a little bit of our cold beef stock there. So what we're going to do is
throw that in?
Yeah, put a little bit of that into your bowl, the stock into here. So I'll pour a little bit in there. Yeah. And the reason why we do that is so we don't create little lumps.
Okay.
Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to mix this in.
With a spoon?
Yes, with your spoon. Yeah. And again, we're looking for no lumps, right? Because we don't want to have any rice dumplings in our sauce.
Okay, now do you find that rice flour is different to work with than regular flour?
Yes. Some parts it is, right? So if you're making a bread, for example, you need to have other different types of starches to help that structure.
Yep.
If you're doing something like this where you're working with stews or soups or sauces, then a rice flour can be substituted for all-purpose flour.
Okay, this is looking good,
Yeah, that's looking excellent, yeah.
And the difference between a jus and a gravy is?
So essentially a gravy has a roux in it. So it has that the fat and the flour part, the stock, whereas jus, we're just going to thicken it up with a little bit of the rice flour. Again, you could use a cornstarch as well, but a rice flour works very nice for this as well.
Should I keep going?
That looks perfect like that, yeah.
Oh, okay, now what?
Now what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate this into our sauce here.
Okay.
Should
I pour it in?
Yeah, pour it in. And maybe do about half first, because we can always add a little bit more if we need.
Oh, it's a little bit lumpy, let's be honest.
That's all right, we can whisk that out. That's why we have the beautiful whisk there. Excellent. And again, when we're cooking this as well, we need to allow the starch to cook out.
Yeah.
So you want to, after you incorporate your slurry, your rice slurry, you want to let it cook for at least about another 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So again, we don't have that raw starch taste from the flour.
Okay, fantastic. So this is a work in progress here, but I guess the key is to do it in these steps so you don't end up with a lumpy jus.